Hey, buddy.
Uh-oh, it says the
This webinar is being live
live
streamed,
stream, okay.
but it says
Really?
you are in a practice session. So maybe we should, just in case, videos off
Videos off,
and
okay.
mute. Peter, you need to upload your profile pic.
We got 2 minutes. It'll automatically turn on at 1 o'clock.
Thank you, Stacy. Hope it all works.
your liberty. The year was 1885 in New York. The Statue of Liberty lay in pieces awaiting assembly, but a lack of committed funding for her pedestal stalled completion of the project. Traditional sources of funding were unavailable, yet the project needed to be finished, despite the lack of financial support from both the government and institutional sources. According to reports, the famous publisher Joseph Pulitzer decided to launch a highly unconventional fundraising campaign, and with the support of over 160,000 Americans from all walks of life, was able to raise the capital required to construct Lady Liberty. Our nation's symbol of liberty and freedom stands tall in New York City, my hometown, because thousands of people banded together to force an outcome that the country needed to make happen. We believe the FBI crime clock, which shows the relative frequency of how often violent and property crime occurs annually in the US, clearly shows the need to reinvigorate our citizens' liberty and fundamental right to live and work in safe communities in a safe country. By some estimates, the negative economic impact of crime is now over $2 trillion annually. It is profoundly clear that new tools and enhanced security capabilities are required to tackle this issue. As a country, we need to do much better, and we will do so together. Like the ideals represented by the Statue of Liberty, in today's terms, we at Knightscope take very seriously our commitment and duty to provide American citizens with the safest environment in which to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Our mission. We are on a long-term mission to make the United States of America the safest country in the world. Boy, our goals seem more than outlandish when we started Knightscope over 8 years ago. However, with the continued support of our over 28,000 investors contributing to our journey, the company has achieved over 1 million hours of operation across the country and can proudly point to numerous crime-fighting wins, proving our technology to be effective while validating the market opportunity. And you don't have to take my word for it. Here's the chief of police of one of our law enforcement agency clients appearing in front of the city council in a public hearing.
Well, the reality is that a patrol officer cannot do what modern technology can do through the use of this robot. One of the significant features of the robot is that it records activity in high definition 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It also provides an alert button feature where patrons of the park can communicate with our police dispatch should they feel they need to. It provides a license plate reader feature where the robot is actually collecting data of license plates that it can read during its route, and it collects this data. It just simply stores it. We can go back and feed a license plate into the system to see if that license plate had a hit, in the park, and that could help in investigations. It also has an intruder sensor, if you will, and basically it lets us know if somebody is in the park during hours when the robot is programmed to designate the park as being closed. It's very similar. The robot technology is not intended to eliminate or reduce the work of human police officers. It's simply to enhance our ability to deliver police services. You can think of it, if you will, as a patrol vehicle, meaning that the patrol vehicle creates that presence and that extension of the police department. And quite honestly, the officer wouldn't be able to do the effective job that he does without the patrol vehicle. So it is not a replacement of, it's simply to enhance the way we deliver police service to the community and to leverage modern technology to engage all of these added features.
The City Council voted unanimously to extend the contract with Knightscope for 2 years. When we started Knightscope in 2013, many believed our vision was not possible. But the day has come where the seemingly impossible has turned into reality through grit, perseverance, determination, and a pure, relentless drive driven by your outpouring of support. You made this happen, and we can do so much more together. We have a strong foundation upon which to build and achieve our mission over time. Ensuring public safety is paramount to ensuring the protection of every citizen's constitutional rights. Our country's well over 200 years old, and we continue to see federal, state, and local agencies struggle with the challenge of how to successfully address this fundamental issue at the community level, much less nationwide. The first role of government is to protect its citizens. The safety and security of our nation must be addressed to build a better future for all Americans. I don't believe the founders of our country would ever have accepted or even anticipated a society in which going to work, going to school, or going about your daily lives came with the potential risk of being victimized, effectively curtailing your individual liberty and freedom. I believe to complete our mission in the long term, we will need to add over 1 million machines and network to the country's workforce to support the estimated 2 million officers and guards who collectively drive 500,000 law enforcement vehicles and leverage the over 70 million security cameras across America. We cannot continue in this manner. This will take decades to address, which is why we're focused on the long-term mission of the company and not short-term pressures or distractions. Our investors first. Today, we're proudly announcing that Nightscope will be filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission to qualify an offering to raise up to $40 million in connection with an intended public listing on NASDAQ. In a traditional IPO, what happens next is, after the regulatory review, the company would go on a 2-week roadshow, coordinated by investment bankers, and the majority, if not all of the IPO shares, would be bought up by Wall Street, and the allocation of these shares to Main Street retail investors just about disappears. If Main Street wants to buy them, well, it can just wait in line until the shares are listed and buy them along with everyone else in the public markets. We don't think this cookie-cutter approach is right for us and our awesome stockholders that have stood by us through thick and thin. All 28,000 of you helped create Nightscope, and we believe it's only right to prioritize you and ensure you have the first chance to buy the shares in a public listing, and only after that will we offer them to Wall Street and the general public. Let me repeat that. Our investors that supported us through this journey go first. So we're going to make it very easy for you to make your indications of interest for a share allocation by simply going to Knightscope.com. For US-based existing investors, you can download the MyIPO app or visit myipo.com and set up your brokerage account there. For international existing investors, we've set up a separate existing international investors button on our site for you to be able to participate as well. We hope you accept this gesture in the spirit it is intended. We are profoundly and eternally grateful for your unwavering support of the Nightscope team. And we wanted to show you our appreciation by changing the public listing process to make this all happen. Transaction process. Before I walk you through the process, SEC rules require us to explain the following with respect to the testing the waters phase of the offering. Since our lawyers are making us say this, we're going to have our trusty team of robots do the task.
The company is testing the waters under Regulation A under the Securities Act of 1933. This process allows companies to determine whether there may be interest in an eventual offering of its securities. The company is not under any obligation to make an offering under Regulation A.
It may choose to make an offering to some, but not all of the people who indicate an interest in investing, and that offering might not be made under Regulation A. If the company does go ahead with an offering, it will only be able to make sales after it has filed an offering statement with the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the SEC has qualified the offering statement.
The information in that offering statement will be more complete than the information the company is providing now, and could differ in important ways. You must read the documents filed with the SEC before investing. No money or other consideration is being solicited, and if sent in response, will not be accepted. No offer to buy the securities can be accepted and no part of the purchase price can be received until the offering statement filed by the company with the SEC has been qualified by the SEC.
Any such offer may be withdrawn or revoked, without obligation or commitment of any kind, at any time before notice of acceptance given after the date of qualification. An indication of interest involves no obligation or commitment of any kind.
We know a lot of you are new to investing or may not necessarily have a good understanding of the overall process. So I'm going to take some time here to break it down for you with 7 quick points. Number 1. Today, we're kicking off the process by announcing that we're moving forward with a public listing to trade on NASDAQ and gathering your interest utilizing the Testing the Waters regulatory period, allowing us to speak publicly about the process without running afoul of regulatory compliance items such as the quiet period, typically associated with a traditional initial public offering. Number 2, we will file the required documents with the Securities and Exchange Commission for review, which typically can be at least 30 days and may be extended or shortened depending on the quality, completeness, and complexity of the transaction. Number 3, in the meantime, as indicated prior, we can begin the process by accepting indications of interest from our existing stockholders. Once the offering is qualified, you can submit your final allocation request and we can begin the formal allocation of shares by accepting your request with our broker-dealer. Number 4, given the massive quantity of stockholders, we kind of broke the system. So to avoid any confusion, you will soon be notified of the need to transfer Nightscope's outstanding stock from Carta to ComputerShare, which will then allow post-conversion to common stock from preferred stock for you to transfer to a brokerage firm of your choice or trade the existing shares directly through your ComputerShare account. We're setting up an information-packed FAQ section on our investor relations site to help out. We don't know of any other company that has done a direct offering and listing with this number of stockholders. So please be patient with us as we're all in slightly uncharted territory, to say the least. Number 5, please note the shares you indicate your interest in now would not be subject to a lockup. Additionally, on the first day of trading, you could buy more shares in the open market on any platform, such as Robinhood, Fidelity, E-Trade, or whatever your favorite broker might be. Our ticker symbol we reserved on NASDAQ some time ago will finally be put to good use. The ticker symbol is KSCP. Number 6, once the SEC completes its review and qualifies the offering, we intend to market the offering for about 30 to 45 days. Once the bankers and the company have determined that we're okay to proceed, the company will complete the public listing process and the underwriter will formally notify NASDAQ. The closing will occur and trading begins the next day. Number 7. Lastly, let's talk a little bit about price. It is my personal view that yes, there are a number of factors on what the share price might be on a given day. But the basic first principle is very simple. Supply and demand. There's only a certain quantity of shares that remain liquid in the public market, called the float. And if no one wants those shares and few people are buying them, then of course the price goes down. The opposite is likely true. We hope you agree that we've accomplished a great deal. Will stick with us to see the mission through and remain a loyal stockholder for the long term. Setting expectations for Nightscope's future. Our endeavor is likely to span decades, and we must maintain a laser-sharp focus on the objective. What we are doing is technically very complex, highly execution-intensive, and will take time to scale up methodically. We are effectively re-engineering how we address the recurring societal problem of crime and terrorism, which means developing an innovative, technologically advanced solution and engaging communities, governments, executives, first responders, regulators, naysayers, as well as the media and financial markets. Implementing such a profound change will not happen overnight, but it can definitely happen. The shift has already started, as evidenced by each autonomous security robot that we deploy. Yep, changing the world one robot at a time. Nightscope is reimagining public safety at a time when our nation needs it most. and we're profoundly grateful for our investor support over the long term. Setting expectations, we will not be managing the company's execution strategy on a quarter-by-quarter basis, nor promising hockey stick growth curves, which will upset some and invigorate others. We need to remain focused on completing our mission, which is our commitment to you, the thousands and thousands of Knightscope investors. Secure the future. So what's next? Besides the public listing itself, which can be all-consuming at times, there are numerous things that we're working on, including, but not limited to, board of directors. We're excited to be recruiting up to 6 independent directors that will help guide the company over the coming years, lend their collective expertise, and represent all of our stockholders. I will remain chairman and CEO as the 7th board member and will continue to fight for our mission day in and day out. We've raised nearly $100 million to build all this technology from scratch, and I've been the sole director during this time by design. I don't believe it is appropriate for founders to be selling board seats to the highest bidder at each financing, but instead strongly believe that finding the right independent directors at the right time with the right skill mix and architecting the right governance team will benefit all of the stockholders, not just a certain class of stock, over the long term. We're also committed to ensuring that the board of directors reflects the true diversity of our stockholder base. Technology. Now that we've operated over 1 million hours in the field, over 6 summers and 6 winters, we've learned a great deal. And this year, we've been pouring our souls into the 5th generation release of our autonomous security robot. With all new hardware, firmware, software, and electrical systems, here's a sneak peek at the K5 version 5.0 release we intend to begin shipping in 2022. With that new exciting foundation and notable technological advancements in sensors, GPUs, cameras, and autonomous technology, we believe now is the time to focus our efforts on making the K7 concept a reality and plan to allocate a portion of the proceeds from the public listing to finally get this new machine into production, setting up Knightscope for long-term success and growth as we combine autonomous technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, and electric vehicles. We've also been teasing a future K1 that is in the works, if you've been paying close attention to some of our ads.
Advanced technologies beautifully designed, software, hardware, and artificial intelligence, carefully crafted and engineered to make the world a better place. Introducing the next generation Knightscope K1. a symbol of a new era where we can better secure the places you work, study, and visit together.
Oh, wait, one more thing. What is that? We are also announcing today the kickoff of the nationwide Knightscope Robot Roadshow. COVID-19 has certainly slowed down business in a lot of cases, and the supply chain effects have been rather painful. But we continue to build our backlog, and as part of reworking our sales process during the pandemic, we've come up with this innovative tour to bring the Knightscope experience to the figurative doorstep of our prospective clients so they can see the machines in real life and have a private telepresence discussion with our sales team. We'll be sharing more details in the coming weeks, and this is going to be very, very exciting. Stay tuned for a landing near you. Long Knightscope, short the criminals. These are serious times requiring serious people and serious technology, backed by serious investors who want and demand change to our country's public safety and security apparatus. With your kind, gracious, and unwavering support, we're working to make a massive dent in the problem, and we're off to a good start. You've helped literally write the first chapter in a very, very long book. And as we list Knightscope on NASDAQ, let the second chapter begin. And as I like to say, long Knightscope, short the criminals. Onward.
Hey, everybody. Hope you thought that was awesome. We meant every single word of it. Thank you so much for your kind support to help us get to this really important stage of the company's growth. We've got a few questions that have come in. But before that, I want to take a little moment to introduce the management team of Knightscope and also thank them for their service. So starting off with Stacy. Stacy, you want to turn on your video there? Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Stacy's a former law enforcement officer. We've been working together for, now over 2 decades, even though I'm still in my 20s. And one of the things I love about Stacy, no matter how hard it is, no matter how painful it is, whatever it takes to move Knightscope forward, he's willing to do it. And thank you, Stacy, for that literal unwavering support. So how are things in Texas? You doing okay down there?
Well, first off, thank you very much. That was incredibly kind of you. I really, really appreciate that. We've worked together for a very long time, and no matter what time of day it is, no matter what the conditions are, if something needs to be done, we're going to do it. We want to make sure that the company is successful, and certainly that all of our trusted investors who've trusted us to kind of put this company out there. We want to take care of them as well. So thank you for doing that. Everything's great in Texas. It's a beautiful sunny day here. So thankful to be a part of this and really excited to answer the few questions that we've got coming in.
All right, let's do Mercedes is next up. Mercedes is our Chief Intelligence Officer. Sometimes people ask me why that title. It's actually 2 aspects. One is intelligence in terms of artificial intelligence. She leads our software engineering team, but also in terms of reconnaissance and security and surveillance type of intelligence, which is also key to her activities. She's put in massive amount of effort way too many all-nighters, and now most recently has assumed the role of Chief Information Security Officer as well. So she's been at it. She's an award-winning technologist, ex Deloitte, and has her heart in this as much as everyone else. So thank you, Mercedes, for all you do.
Hi, Bill, and hi, all of our investors. I love this company, and all of my qualifications you've listed already. So I'm glad to work here. Thank you to all our investors who have put their trust in us as a company to deliver the very, very broad mission that we have, which we all have bought into. So we will do whatever it takes to get to make America the safest country in the world.
Awesome. Next up, Aaron Lenhart, or otherwise I call him the mind reader. I've also had the honor and privilege of working with Aaron for more than 20 years as well. Being the CEO of a company is absolute misery sometimes. Actually, most days it's kind of horrifying of the issues that leaders have to deal with. But one awesome pleasure is to be able to work with Aaron. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. and designing something. So we're both ex-Ford Motor Company, and we have our own, I think, cryptic language on how we go about doing things. But thank you, Aaron, for all the late nights and early mornings and madness and craziness over all these years.
Cool. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, like you said, we work a ton of hours, but you know what? This is the most fun I've ever had. It's just, amazing to be part of something that, we're really changing the world. It's really exciting stuff.
And then Mallory is our Chief Financial Officer, all dressed up for the part today. And, so Mallory has spent almost a decade and a half on turnarounds and wanted to spend some time on startups, which in some cases have some things in common and some not, but both involve a lot of drama and a lot of difficulty. And I'm very thankful, Mallory. She brought her team with her, a full finance and accounting team that's been through, I think, 6 IPOs and 22 secondaries. So kind of been around the block a few times. And she's been helping us guide everything from finance, accounting, as well as helping the sales process and everything else she can get involved with. So we're very grateful to have Mallory on the team.
Thank you. And it's been such a pleasure being part of this team. It's been almost a year now since I joined the company, and it's exciting. And I have the privilege of speaking with so many of the stockholders. So it's not just the internal energy, it's the external energy that I feel from working with so many of the stockholders too. So onward and upward.
Excellent. And lastly, but certainly not least, is Pete, our general counsel, also a fellow New Yorker. And one of the things I love about Pete is I've unfortunately or fortunately have dealt with a lot of attorneys over my life, and you start learning stuff through osmosis. And sometimes it's bad habits where the answer is always no. There's a problem. No, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. No, can't do that. But Pete's always trying to figure out, well, okay, let's figure out a solution as opposed to, figuring out how to say no. And that's really important for growing a company, and especially at this next stage that we're going into. So when this pandemic's over, Pete, you and I need to grab a slice in New York City.
You betcha. No doubt about it. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of your team. And I've only been around for a few months now, but I'm really struck by the determination of all of you folks. And so I'm going to do whatever I can to help you move things forward.
Awesome. So with those intros for newer folks that hadn't met the management team, hopefully that was helpful for you. Stacy, I want to turn it over to you. You're going to moderate some Q&A for us.
You betcha. So I'll try to also direct the questions to who they go to. First and foremost, I'll put it into your arena, Bill. What excites you the most about the future of Knightscope?
I like to think of this in decades. So I think one of 3 items. The first one The next 10 years, we need to focus on getting the technology to hear, feel, smell, see, do 100 times more than a human could ever possibly do. I think that will really help our clients and help better secure the country. And I think the second thing is we need to have different form factors, different sizes. You know, criminals and terrorists really don't care. Oh, well, you focused on community parks or schools or hospitals or casinos. You need to basically be everywhere. And if you're going to eradicate the problem somehow, you need also to be everywhere. So you're going to need I'll say extra small, small, medium, large, extra large versions of the Knightscope technology, so we can be everywhere, both indoors and outdoors. I think the second thing is going to be 2 decades worth of asking a very poignant and simple question: is if your people are the lifeblood of your organization, why are you not using the latest, most sophisticated security technology to help protect and serve them? And we're going to pose that question with the help of all of you, all 28,000. We're going to ask that question to every single mayor across this country, every governor, every sitting cabinet member, every senator, every congressman, every dean, every CEO. Everyone's going to be asked this simple, basic question. And we are going to make sure that we can make a fundamental change on how we better secure this country. And as we make the technology better and better and better, at some point, it becomes politically untenable not to make the change. And so we're going to need all of you to help out in moving that forward over the next couple of decades. And I think the third decade out, you know, if you look at it holistically, what are we doing? We're reducing risk, and we're understanding the risk in a particular area. And either we're going to partner with an insurance company, or if we can't get the right partner, we'll build our own. But I think long-term, we've got an opportunity to basically come up with a different kind of insurance product that really deals with real-time analytics and understanding of an area and assessing a risk, and then putting dollars against that. I think we probably will add a lot of value to commercial real estate owners, et cetera, where, you know, you're actually basing the premium on actual data, not some random person going there, you know, once a year. So I think there's a lot that excites me. But Stacy, I mean, the 28,000 people that, you know, have supported us through this journey, that provides the fuel for us to continue to push forward.
Yeah, definitely no doubt there. Next question up is, since your business model is a subscription service, are you seeing clients regularly renew, and have you entered any new markets? So I'll take that one.
Go for it.
So a bunch of different answers actually that I have for that. First and foremost, you know, when we talk about renewals, that is the most, in my mind anyway, and probably I think Bill's as well, that's the most important metric for us, because if you do a good job and the clients believe in the product, they actually get good use out of it, and they see the value in it, they're going to continue to renew. So having renewals is incredibly, incredibly important for us. And we've actually had numerous different ones, and I'll mention just a few off the top of my head. First and foremost, we had a hospital renew for their 5th year running. So super excited about that. We've got a real estate manager out in Colorado that has renewed for their 4th year. We've got a pharmaceutical company that's renewed for their 3rd year. And as Bill mentioned in the video, we have a law enforcement agency who has been with us already a couple of years, and they received city council approval to renew for an additional 2 years. So if you think about that for a moment, the politics involved in having to go through, one, the test cycle of making sure the robot's going to work and that the citizens approve of it. 2, the police department has to believe in it. 3, they have to present it to the city council. The city council all has to agree that they're going to move forward with it. So the amount of approvals that had to be in place there to allow that to happen were absolutely incredible. And to get that additional 2-year renewal was super special for us. New markets for 2021, we entered into several different new markets. One was biotech. We entered the cannabis market, legal cannabis, obviously, storage facilities, and even a water utility. So expanding into the utility space and protecting the homeland in those critical areas. And then next up, it's important to talk about expansion, just beyond people who are renewing, but what about expansion in certain markets or expansion within a specific company? Casinos have been tremendous for us. As you can see over Mallory's shoulder, that happens to be one of our casino clients, Grand Casino and Resort. And we have numerous different casinos popping up all over the country using Knightscope's technologies. Residential. Residential kind of exploded after we published the results from an apartment complex in Las Vegas, who was consistently rating in the top 3 of 911 calls with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. When we took them out of the top 10 within the first 90 days of deployment, that got a lot of news coverage, and a lot of other people in apartment complexes, condominiums, and residential areas started calling upon us to say, hey, if you help them, maybe you can help us. Shopping centers, shopping centers is actually one of our very first clients. And so to see that continue to grow and be put into many, many different new markets across the country and shopping centers, that's been exciting. And then telecommunications, I talked about earlier, having clients that expand their existing use case. So we have a very large telecommunications company who started off with one robot, then they got a second robot, now they have a third robot. So it's really awesome that people are seeing the value in what we do. And then lastly, a quick next, more firsts, I guess we'll say. We have our first contract in South Carolina, first contract in Hawaii, 2 robots that have been deployed over the past couple of weeks there. So they're actually live and running now. And our first deployment in Oregon. So hopefully that helps you and helps get an answer to that question, but tremendous amount of growth happening, lots of excitement happening from my standpoint and my team. And of course, I take a tremendous amount of pride in that because it's coming from the efforts of the folks who are working on the client development side. All right, moving on. Next question. What is the essence of Knightscope's design process? Oh, Aaron, you get that one.
Sure. Well, before we even really put pen to paper, we sat down and created some guidelines, not only for our products, but for the whole company as well. We're really the pioneers of autonomous security robots. And so it was really up to us to determine, what these things should look like. And the 3 words that we came up with that became our company's DNA are pure, cutting edge, and engaging. Like I said, it's not only for design, but also for everyone at Knightscope, really. Before we do anything, we kind of ask ourselves, is what I'm doing conform to the brand's DNA? Relating to design, pure represents basically the simplicity of function and the purity of form. So that means like, nice clean surfaces, simple color schemes, subdued graphics, and on the machine side, is it easy to assemble and is it easy to service? Cutting edge. Our products need to hold like the most advanced position in the marketplace. And, we're really on a mission here to change the world. So our products really need to look capable of actually doing that. Lastly, engaging. Our products, they need to command attention and, draw people in to want to learn more about them. We want the machines to have a commanding presence because, basically it is a security robot. Yet we still want it to be, friendly in the eyes of the public. So basically no Terminator or, RoboCop aesthetic is allowed in our DNA. With the DNA in mind, we can basically start the design process itself. It starts off with a lot of sketching. Basically to get the design down and the proportions, while still, working with engineers and making sure we get the sensors and all the mechanical bits in the right places. Once we have a design that we like down on paper, I like to do like a really rough 3D model, and that helps us visualize that sketch in other views. And we also utilize like VR and some of the latest rendering software to help us with that. A lot of times when I build something on the computer, you know, your object is pretty small on the screen, and you really kind of lose the sense of scale of what you're working on. So basically, when we get into VR, you put on the goggles, and it's basically right in front of you. It's full size. You can look at it, walk around it, you know, get close, get far away, see it from all different views, and you know, you start to get a real good indication of what it's going to look like in real life. From there, basically, it's just more refinements to that model. A lot of, you know, making sure the surfaces are nice, and, you know, checking all the lines, making sure everything looks good, while still, you know, working more with the design for production, making sure all those parts that I'm designing, you know, are easy to build, easy to assemble, and also service. And, you know, the VR kind of helps us with that as well. Basically, you get the goggles on, and you can basically pop the hood and, you know, reach in with your hand and see if you know, can I get to that screw, and can I adjust this part? And it just, you know, the technology these days just really help push, you know, everything a lot faster than what we can normally do. Once we get that 3D model kind of down to you know, something that we're like pretty happy with, ready to go, we'll build a prototype. And basically, when we get to that prototype phase, it's pretty exciting, because it's like, you know, here it is, it's finally out of the computer. And you know, basically we get to put it together, make sure we got all the parts right and everything. And usually there's a few little adjustments here and there, things need to move a little bit, whatever. But once we get that prototype, you know, nailed down to something that we're really happy with, it's time to kick it off for production. And it's, you know, a super exciting time, because, you know, it's something, you know, you've worked on for so long, and there's, you know, you started from scratch. And then there it is at a client site, you know, rolling down the parking lot. It's pretty exciting times.
Yeah, so we haven't told
Bill, I kind of noticed something behind you there. What do you got there?
Oh, we haven't told Mercedes this, that we've been working on a hide and seek algorithm. We got the hide part working, the seek's not working, but we'll we'll show you the 5th generation 5.0 in real life that you just saw in the video. There it is. So we've got
version 5.
Version 5. Take all the million hours plus and 6 winters and 6 summers, as I said in the video, all those lessons learned, or bumping our head against the wall, and see how many issues we can fix. The team's excited. We've been working on this for a very long time, and hopefully 2022 we'll start shipping the 5.0.
All right, next up, what is Nightscope's position on cybersecurity, and what steps are being taken to ensure that the data being collected is protected? Obviously, that one's going to go to Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yes, that goes to me. So, yes, I can. Can you hear me? You can hear me okay? Yeah, so what we're doing is, most people are familiar with what is called a SOC certification or an ISO certification. What we're doing is something that is probably about 5 to 10 times worse than that in difficulty. We are in the process of obtaining Fedramp Certification, which is a US government certification that you give to companies that are deemed okay to work with the government, because they have the appropriate policies, the appropriate controls, and the appropriate information to be able to withstand the the government's regulations in terms of what information can be shared with other people. So this is a process that takes about 12 to 18 months. We started back in February of 2021. We expect to be certified by September of 2022. And as I said, this is not only are you protecting your data, meaning are the least number of people possible accessing that data? Do you have controls that allow only a handful of people in the whole company to look at any customer data for whatever reason? it also goes back to our principles and to the things that we do when we're recruiting people, when we're onboarding people, as well as when we're determining who will have access to what. So we have a learning management system that we're putting in place that will give education in terms of privacy to all of our employees, not just the employees that deal with government data, but all of them. All of our employees will go through that. We will, once we're certified, we're able to get ourselves in a list where government could purchase our products. We are, in our view, our customers' data is very important to us. That's why it's encrypted, and it's encrypted at rest in the robots and also on AWS, which is our cloud solution. So as a customer, they could be certain that at no point in time, the encryption of their data will be broken. So there's keys that need to be shared. There's security controls that we have put in place that allows us to provide to our customers the highest level of security for their information.
Glad you're working on that. That's too
Same.
much.
Yes, fun. Cybersecurity is fun. What I can say is that we haven't been hacked yet, which is good. Knock on wood. So yeah, fun stuff.
All right, Mallory, this one's for you. This one actually has been asked a whole bunch of times. And it kind of refers back to something we've got on our FAQs on the investor relations page. It states that Nightscope is changing transfer agents. How will I know when that change has been made and how to access my stock?
Very good questions. So a transfer agent holds a record of ownership of all of the company's registered stockholders. So currently our transfer agent is CARTA, and as Bill mentioned in the video, we've sort of outgrown their platform with 28,000 investors. And so we are in the process of migrating to a new transfer agent called Computershare, which I'm sure a lot of our stockholders have heard of because they're an extremely large transfer agent in the US. And we hope to have that done toward the end of September, at which point all of our registered stockholders will receive a welcome package from Computershare that will include the Computershare account statement and provide the identifying information that each stockholder will need to set up their new account. One of the things we're very excited about with the move to Computershare is all of the additional features and functionalities that the stockholders will have in terms of managing their own accounts. I know there's been a little bit of frustration that I've dealt with a lot of stockholders with trying to get account information from CARTA. When they get the welcome package and they'll set up their account through Computershare's Investor Center, it's online. There's a mobile portal, and they'll be able to view their portfolios through either of those portals. Shareholders who have an existing account with Computershare, which may be quite a few of our investors, will be able to view their Nightscope stock as soon as it's migrated over, as long as their account has the same name and tax ID as they use to invest in their Nightscope stock. So that might make it a little bit more seamless for some shareholders, but shareholders who are new to Computershare will need to set up a new account with Computershare. But some of the features, I'll just mention at a high level, that make it really easy and efficient for stockholders to manage their accounts. They'll be able to view their account details. They'll be able to update their account information on their own, and they won't have to contact the company to do that. They'll be able to convert their shares from preferred to common stock at the press of a button, and they'll be able to enroll in things like direct deposit and perform other transactions. So we're very excited about it. We'll continue to communicate with all of the stockholders as things move. But for now, we've put some FAQs up on the investor relations website that you can view after this meeting through our investor page.
Okay, looks like Pete's on the hot seat. Last one.
Pete's next. What's going to change as the transition from a private company to a public one occurs?
Now we got to behave.
Well, thanks for that question. First, Knightscope intends to list its Class A common shares on NASDAQ. Once listed, these shares will be freely tradable. Stockholders will be able to buy and sell shares of our stock on the open market. Second, we will become subject to rules and regulations that are applicable to public companies, which are primarily designed to protect investors, including rules and regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Many of these rules and regulations will result in more frequent reporting of our financial results and of material events that occur with respect to our company. This should provide greater transparency for our stockholders. And finally, our exposure to the financial media should increase with our public listing, allowing for additional avenues of communication for us to inform the public about our products and services. These are a few of the changes we expect as we transition from a private to a public company.
All righty. So I think, Stacy, we should wrap this up. I know we're getting close to the hour here, but I think we wanted to do a little, you've got the black screen thing again, Stacy.
Yep.
So I know I'm going to get this question. They're already started flooding in. So what do I do now? So if you go to Knightscope.com, just click the investors tab all the way at the top. There's a brand new page that we just put live. It has the recording of the meeting presentation that we just went through, and that's there on your upper right. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see there's a few buttons. The one all the way on the left is USA Investors. If you click that, that will bring up the broker-dealer's site. And on the lower right there, you can say indicate interest. Go ahead, Stacy, and click that. And this is for US investors. And it's super simple. Name, email, phone number, what state you're in, and then an indicated amount, submit, and you're done. Super simple.
Have to submit the 20K. Have to do that.
Okay, fair enough. And Stacy, if we go back to the investor page, the next one's for international investors. So we wanted to make sure we do have a lot of folks from around the world, and we didn't want to exclude you or otherwise get hate mail that you were excluded. So there's a little different form just to fill out, basically name, email, address. Are you existing shareholder or not? You know, you got to hover on the 20,000 again or plus, and then just hit submit. And then that'll go straight to the broker dealer, and we will be sure to follow up from there. The next one's the investors FAQ. So the bankers, the lawyers, Mallory, Pete, and I spend a lot of time because we get tons of questions, and rightfully so, folks have genuine questions. Please go through the FAQ first. There's discussion there about the public offering and the listing. There's some general ones towards the bottom. Talks a little bit about the transfer agent if you need to better understand what Mallory said earlier. Let's see. Prior
Bill,
investments.
I got asked a lot of questions during a lot of the Q&A side. People are asking, hey, how come you're not answering my question? This is most likely the reason why, is because we have an FAQ page that's going to answer all your questions. So make sure you utilize the tools that we provide for all of our investors there.
Yeah, and please understand, we're a small team, and there's 28,000 of you. We try to respond as best we can. I guess while we're talking about that, on the lower right there's a little intercom button. So that little guy is not a bot. I've tried to explain this to folks before. That is primarily me answering questions 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. At times, if it's appropriate, Stacy or Mallory will pitch in. But if the FAQ doesn't answer your questions, I can attempt to try to help there. But understand that I'm also trying to run the company and get this public listing out and get the Robot Roadshow out. So if you leave your email address in there, that'll make it easier to make sure to get back to you with your questions at maybe a different hour than immediately.
And
So
Bill will never say this, but I'll say it on his behalf. Please don't ask him to prove that he's not a robot. He actually is a human being. He's actually responding. Doesn't have time to go and tell you, hey, I'm really a person. He really is. Just trust the process. We'll take care of you. We promise.
and
another thing to remind our investors is that little icon right there, you could have it automated. So there's the tool exists. We could have an actual robot, but we have chosen not to. We have chosen to answer to all of our investors' questions ourselves.
So just don't abuse it, please. It can be exhausting. I love to engage with everyone, but at times there just isn't enough time in the day. I'm still looking for somebody to ship me the 48-hour clock. I'm stuck with this 24-hour thing. The next tab is the SEC filing. So if you need to see any of the prior Form 1Ks, which are the annual reports, or the 1SA, or the future SEC filings that we discussed during the presentation, those will be all automatically uploaded. And then once the offering is qualified by the SEC, we'll do another upgrade to this investor relations site, more in line with a publicly traded company. So hopefully that wraps things up, Stacy. I think we're good. We're just going to make it on the hour, looks like.
Yep. We got less than a minute left.
All right. Well, again, thanks to the whole management team for doing this, and the entire Knightscope team that literally works 24/7 to make all this happen. And we hope you'll join us and be a force for good. Visit us at Knightscope.com. Take care. Bye-bye.